truthfully, I grew up with so much naivety. Like, I just thought, people are perfect. People love me. The world is beautiful. Like, and then when I grew up and joined the workspace, I realized things are not as they are. Hey guys, I can't believe we are on episode 3 of Crayons to Careers. Who knew this journey would be this amazing? Well, this is episode 3, and guess what, guys? We are going to talk about something interesting. But before we do that, guys, have you liked, have you subscribed, have you even commented, or even bothered to share this video with your friends? So if you haven't, guilty as charged, please do that. Well, today I came to speak about something very amazing, and I think I will relate with most of you on this podcast today. Did you grow up knowing everything was perfect? If you're that person, just come closer. Let's have this real conversation because you're not alone. Guys, me, I grew up in a space what I now call a bubble. You know, growing up in a place where you think everything is perfect, people should be happy, the world is amazing, the world should never come to an end. In fact, why are you sad? And then reality really kicked in when I joined my workspaces. My goodness, the shock on my face, you'll just never imagine what it was. So, you know, growing up in a space, I grew up particularly in a school, and I had the best childhood. I was speaking to my cousin last week, and she was saying, Edith, I wish Mom and Dad told us how tough the world is. We grew up in such a bubble where we thought everything was perfect. I grew up in a small town in Iganga, and for me, I thought, you know, growing up in a small town, you kind of have similar friends, you have like families that you know, like people know each other. And if you're going like for play dates or you're meeting up with your friends, it's just similar group of people who your parents know. So you have like similar circles. So we had like parties together, we had events we were attending together, and life was so beautiful. But one thing I do remember so profoundly is that I grew up in a school. So all my friends were either teachers' kids, matrons' kids, or like non-teaching staff kids. So we had so many kids to play with. You would have breakfast at home and then go to teacher's A's house and have lunch. And then you go to teacher's B's house and have dinner. By the time you come home, you're fine. There are days I would be carried home in the air because I have a wound and I'm bleeding. And then you have friends come and check on you the next day. Life was so beautiful. My mom was so big on birthdays. She's an amazing baker. She makes the best cakes in the world. So on my birthdays, she would like invite like her teachers. They would come home, and I was made to present in front of them. Then they would give me money. And man, those moments were beautiful. And people were always happy when I was presenting. They would always say, "You're so confident. You're so amazing." So truthfully, I grew up with so much naivety. Like, I just thought, people are perfect. People love me. The world is beautiful. Like, and then when I grew up and joined the workspace, I realized things are not as they are. I realized that people have different experiences. People have grown up in different environments, and actually sadness is out there. People are actually not very happy, like I did assume. I remember the first time that someone deliberately made my work life so hard. I was so much in shock because I thought that the stage is too big for everyone to dance or celebrate. But then when this person like really tried to frustrate me, I was in shock. I'm like, why is she mad at me? Why doesn't she like me? But I'm a good person. And I didn't know what to do with that, right? So I've had the privilege of working like in different dynamic spaces, with people from different countries. And I think in my earlier like workspace, when I was teaching, like I was in spaces whereby racism was like a huge thing, right? Like however good you were, you just had to be a certain color to be appreciated in an environment. So I remember working so hard, and one of like my amazing bosses said, Edith deserves a promotion. And they were so mean because I hadn't gotten a particular accent. I could not get that promotion. I'm Ugandan and I have a thick accent and I went to Ugandan traditional school. So why would someone expect me to turn and be someone else? But you know that bias, right? And I felt so bad. I'm like, why would someone hate me because I don't speak a particular way? And that really hurt me to the core today. But I did understand that, man, like, not everyone is going to like you. People are going to frustrate you at work, And I think just looking back at that particular incident, one thing that I really learned is that leaders have gone through different experiences, right? Psychologists sometimes call that like an optimism bias, like the people who grow up naturally that are very optimistic, like me. Hey, I could have the worst day today, and tomorrow I'm with my friends and we're having a good time. Like, you can't tear me down. And like with optimism bias, you always believe that good things happen more than the bad ones. So you're very optimistic, which is an amazing thing. But I would also want to say that optimism earns discernment. You need to discern. If you're very optimistic, you need to be able to discern situations. You need to be able to discern people and their characters. Most organizations or most workspaces do invest a lot of money in learning people's different personalities, which is amazing because then you get to know who you are and why you act the way you are. But how I wish that also organizations or different workspaces also invested in hearing people's stories and understanding why they behave why they behave the way they are behaving, because sometimes a friend will tell you a story and you're like, now I understand why you behave the way you do. Have you had a colleague who would probably just decide to be quiet in a meeting? Maybe that person grew up in a space where their voice was never heard. So they're just like, I rather sit back, let the talkers talk me. I have to perfect whatever I'm saying. Or have you had friends that are perfectionists and they won't say anything until they feel like it's perfect? Or they'll read a document 10 times. Maybe then those people grew up in a space where they were told to be perfectionists and mistakes were never tolerated in that environment. So sometimes leaders lead differently because of the spaces that they actually grew up in. So I think that we need to shift from a space where we really heavily focus on learning different personalities, but listen keenly more. Those lunchtime breaks that you have at work, those casual car conversations that you're with your friend, listen in more, lean in more, hear their stories, and you'll be able to know why people actually behave a certain way that they do. Maybe that they grew up in spaces whereby they weren't heard, so they'll rather just keep quiet and just be like, I want to say nothing. Or you find them in the middle of a presentation and they're really shy, or they're not very confident about what they say. Maybe they were never given enough praise. So leading with grace and understanding those personalities will take you a long way. And guess what? It's a learning journey. It's a learning journey. Even me, I'm still on that learning journey, trying to invest more in listening to stories that my friends say to understand why they are the way they are. So one thing for us to understand is that leaders lead differently. Some lead with fear. Some lead with hope, some lead with joy. And it's all that, you need that kind of leadership in every space. But most importantly, learn why people are the way they are. Lean into those conversations more. Enjoy those lunch breaks. Enjoy those car rides, those Christmas parties that you have. Listen more. That will help you understand who your colleagues are, and it will help you build your friendships more. I hope to see you next time. Please subscribe, share, comment, do everything. Bye-bye.